Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for coming out in this frigid weather. We really appreciate it. So my name is Katie Heights, and I'm the president of the Honor Student Association, which means I have the honor of introducing the Honors Professor of the Year Award tonight. I would like to welcome all of the students, faculty, residential learning community partners, and university honors program staff that are here tonight. At this time, I would like to recognize my other HSA officers. Vice President is Mary Collins, Volunteer Coordinator is Kellen Davis, and Secretary and Treasurer is Sarah Coleman. So the process of selection for the Honors Professor of the Year Award begins with nominations by CSU honors students. This is something that is strongly encouraged among the Honor Student Association. So after all the nominations have been taken in, the Honor Student Association officers kind of make the final decision of who wins the award. This year there are many nominees who I would like to recognize at this time. Please stand when I call your name. The nominees for the 2013-2014 Honors Professor of the Year Award are Mary Elkins, Honors; Nancy Earlbeck, Agricultural Sciences; Keith Jaggers, Honors; Kristen Kaczynski, Forest and Rangeland Stewardship; Solomon Katani, Mechanical Engineering; Pam Knaus, History and Honors; Anne-Marie Merlin, Honors; Bob Richburg, Honors; Bill Schuster, Business; and John Walrand, Biomedical Sciences. Congratulations to these outstanding nominees. So this year's winner is not new to this award, as he also won it for the 2003-2004 year. He has taught at CSU for 44 years, 11 of which have been in the honors program. Known throughout Colorado for his teaching prowess, his home, as he refers to it, is with the School of Education, where he has been for more than 25 years. Tonight's honored winner has made many advances in the classroom. One of these is developing Project Promise, which is a nationally recognized 10.5-month-long program that teaches mid-career professionals how to be effective teachers. Project Promise was awarded by the Colorado Commission of Higher Education as a program of excellence and received $565,000 between 1993 and 1998. He's definitely not to the award stage, as he has won many awards previously. This includes the 2000 Best Teacher Award, the 2001 CSU College of Applied Human Sciences Outstanding Teacher Award, and several Educational Leadership and Innovation Awards from Phi Delta Kappa, an association for professional educators. Yet another accomplishment of this year's Honors Professor is his co-authoring of the book on brain research applied to teaching. The 2007 book is called Igniting Student Potential, Teaching with the Brain's Natural Learning Processes. Besides this book, his writing prowess also includes over 40 journal articles about various aspects of teaching. In the CSU Honors Program, he is very well known and his classes are very popular. His honors seminars about the brain that were offered at 8 a.m. were the first seminars to fill up, which, coming from a current college student, and I'm sure many of you in the crowd can agree, that is really saying something. His other honor seminars were on the topic of immigration and allowed students the opportunity to travel to the U.S.-Mexico border as part of the class. He also had the opportunity to address the 2013 fall graduates at the honors graduation reception. In his own words, "I'm really excited about teaching, as I think it is the noblest of professions. It is one of the few places a person can genuinely make a positive difference in young people's lives, and I have endeavored to do this." Tonight's winner has 2 grown sons with his wife and best friend Fran, and they now have 6 grandchildren. This year's award includes a $1,000 award, this plaque, and the opportunity to present the Honors Professor Lecture. Please welcome to the stage the 2013-2014 Honors Professor of the Year, Professor Emeritus Dr. Robert Richburg.
Thank you, Katie. I appreciate it very much. When I woke up this morning and it was 10 below zero and the snow was coming down hard, I was pretty much convinced that I'd be talking to myself and my wife and my terrier dog Daisy, and that would be the extent of it tonight. I want to thank all of you for coming. I'm truly humbled that you would come to listen to me tonight. Many people have enabled tonight's presentation, from my standpoint, take place. I want to especially thank the Honors Office staff, Don, Diane, Cindy, Judy, and Jordan are probably the most professional people I've ever had the opportunity to work with, and I appreciate them very much. I want to thank Ashley and Charlie and Zach up in the sound booth for their good help. I want to thank my senior honors students over the last, I think, 11 years. They have truly added joy to my life every semester, and I do thank them. I want to thank Jill Dornan. Jill is my costume designer and is out in the audience. I want to thank Fran, my wife of nearly 50 years, who is my principal friend and paramount encourager. I want to thank Bruce Freestone, who manages the auditorium, and was a big help getting this prize that I want to talk to you about in just a moment. And a special thanks to Dr. Michaels for giving me this beautiful Porsche Carrera. Don, in all truthfulness, I think that was way over the top. I said we didn't expect that, but I definitely want to thank you for it. I really want to introduce you tonight to the real speaker tonight. I'm just a carrier of the real speaker. Let me get my... I just lost my clicker. I found it.
You got it.
This 3-pound mass of protoplasm, mostly fat, salt, protein, and water, is my brain. It has 20 billion or so neurons. It used to have more. It has the chemistry and structure of a male brain. It's a bit introverted, and it's pretty darn feisty. But I want to introduce you to my brain. My brain wants to give you a very quick resume. I'm the best part of Bob. Everything that he has accomplished is in fact due to me, and I have no ego problem. The first thing I want to do as we start tonight is to take issue with the title of this session. If you look at the first word, it says, if. That's ridiculous. Of course, but you can manage your stress. And if you don't learn to handle it in college, you'll be dealing with it the rest of your life. Getting your work done early in the day is the greatest advantage that you have in terms of reducing stress. I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but if you are in a regular cycle of sleep, where you go to bed at a certain time and get up at a certain time, the first 4 hours that you are awake, your brain is the most efficient it will ever be during the day. And it declines from that point on until late at night if you're staying up late at night. And what's happening is you're not going to be able to get nearly as much done later in the day as you do earlier. One of the things that I see that students do all the time is they go out for runs and they socialize in the morning. They go out for coffee in the morning, things like that. That's the time when you've got to get your work done. Because if you're trying to write papers at 10 o'clock at night when you've been up since 7 in the morning, I will guarantee you your brain is not very efficient. It will take you much longer, sometimes 3 times as long to get work done at that time as it will early in the day. Deciding whether something is worth stressing over is another little tactic you might consider. Sometimes we worry about things that really don't make much difference. I had a couple of students last semester who said to me they were really worried because they had sent their application for medical school off and they were wondering how it was going to turn out. It was stressing them out. And I said to them, you've already let it go. Of what value is it to worry about it? It's gone. You can't do anything about it. What's going to happen is going to happen. But this is the thing that I think haunts an awful lot of students, are things that worrying about will do you no good. It's not worth tearing your brain out. One of the unfortunate outcomes of Bob's students feel is when they are feeling stress is they admit that they drink too much. And I know this is part of the culture of the campus. I understand all of that. And a beer or a glass of wine, one a day or one every couple of days certainly isn't going to hurt you at all. But one of the things that students need to understand is your brain is not fully developed yet. And you are more vulnerable to damage by things like drugs or alcohol than you will be later in your life. Your brain won't be completely developed until you're 25 years old. And so you've got to take into account you can do much more damage now than you will be able to later. Let me show you what I'm talking about. What I have here are called SPECT images. SPECT stands for Single Photon Emission Computerized Tomography. It's another way of saying this is a brain image. The brain on the left, both of these are brains of 20-year-old students, 20-year-old people, we don't know if they're students. The one on the left is an individual that is either not a drinker or very seldom has any alcohol. Maybe Christmas time or Thanksgiving has a glass of wine, but is essentially a non-drinker. The brain on the right is a person who has been a heavy alcohol consumer just on weekends for 3 years. And what you are seeing, if you look closely, are a lot of holes. That is tissue that is dead. Those are dead neurons and other tissue. But what I would say to you that you need to understand is the brain heals other parts of the body, but it does not heal itself. Neurogenesis has only been shown in one small part of the brain, and even that is questioned by many people. So whatever damage you do to your brain is not going to get repaired. That's a key issue. The people who sell beer to you won't tell you this, won't explain this to you. Normally beer is 4.65% alcohol. But in Colorado, there is no upper limit to the alcohol content in beer. You can walk into Wilbur's, and I've actually done this, and buy beer that is 19% or even 27% alcohol. Consider that when you're thinking how many beers you want to have. And I want you to think about this. This is very important. Don't forget that the reason that alcohol relieves your stress is that it disrupts your prefrontal cortex. That's this part of your brain. The region of your brain that is responsible for making good decisions. So now when you think you're a good dancer or maybe a better conversationalist, you are in danger of making really poor decisions. This captures the idea very clearly. The mark of a good party is when you wake up in the morning wanting to change your name and start life in a different city. We can laugh about that. That maybe is humorous, but in fact, that's a tragic thing. that happens to many, many students. By now, you're pretty much convinced that I'm your mother, and I'm just in disguise. And I want to give you just one other little piece of advice, and then I promise not to lay anything else on you. The prevailing view on campus is that you have to choose 2 out of 3 of these things. You can get good grades and you can have a social life, but if you do that, you can't have enough sleep. Or you can have enough sleep and you can have a social life, but in that case, you can't have good grades. And what I want to try to help you see is that we have substantial evidence that getting 7.5 hours of sleep on a regular basis, without doing that, you're compromising your grades. In a study that was done by Stanford and St. Thomas universities together, totaling 65,000 students, they found that not getting enough regular sleep has the same negative effect on student grades as binge drinking and marijuana use. The St. Thomas study also showed that students who got 7.5 hours of sleep had a full grade point higher in science classes than those who got 6 hours of sleep. Let me explain to you how this works. When you're sleeping, your brain does a whole lot of important things, like recharging the immune system, repairing tissues outside your brain. But in every 90 minutes, you complete one sleep cycle. So what you're seeing up here, this would be one sleep cycle. You go through different stages of sleep. The first stage and the second stage are light sleep, where you can actually be awakened by a door slamming or your cat giving you grief or something. When you get into step 3 or 4, that's a deep sleep, and that's when tissue repair occurs in the brain. But then after stage 4, you really almost start to wake up. You go back to almost a wakefulness period. And that ends in what we call REM sleep. REM meaning rapid eye movement. If we could pick up your eyelid, we could see that your pupils were going back and forth real fast. And what's happening there is, remember the hippocampus that I said not to destroy? Your hippocampus is sending material from short-term memory into long-term memory. So during that REM sleep, you're actually converting things that you want to remember from short-term to long-term memory. Now, what you'll see from my graphic is that there are 4 cycles here. 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be, each one is 90 minutes, so that would be 6 hours of sleep. If you're getting 6 hours of sleep, you're getting 4 periods of REM sleep. If you're getting 7.5 hours of sleep, you're getting 5 periods of REM sleep. And what we know now is the 5th period of REM sleep is the longest of them all. It turns out to be short, the cycle turns out to be short in terms of not having much tissue repair, but that's when REM sleep is the strongest. So when you get your 7.5 hours sleep, you're really doing your memory a lot of good. So that's something to consider. Christina Berg, who heads the Health Education Prevention Services program here at CSU, has told my person Bob how concerned the university is about these issues. She said that about 30% of the students on this campus are really thriving and handling the issues of sleep, stress, and alcohol very, very well, but a substantial number of students are not, and the university is. And they say, okay, now I got the first one. I understand what the hippocampus does. And then all of a sudden, the instructor keeps going, and maybe he stops, and he never got to the second one. And they can say, sir, we didn't worry about the amygdala. You're going to deal with that tomorrow? And they say, oh, I forgot. I'll get right to that now. And what it does, in fact, is it empowers the students to be able to say to the instructor, I get this or I don't get this, and I understand now what I'm supposed to learn, and I don't have the material for that. And what happens when you have posted the objectives then, the next day, next class period, The instructor puts, I do this, I'll just speak for myself. I put my students into groups of 3 or 4, and I give them on a series of questions that will find out if they understand what we talked about the day before. Pretty simple. But when they talk about it among themselves, and as I circulate around, I find out who's clear, whether there's some things that nobody understands that I thought I covered, and I can very quickly reteach those items because now I know what they've got and what they haven't got. But this also represents what I will eventually test them over. So they've had a chance to know that if you do this with integrity, the instructors do not add anything to this. So you can't just post your objectives and then add things to them afterward and say, well, I really meant this to be the case. Another thing that I think instructors can do, and I've tried to do, and I think it works really well, is have flexible due dates. In my syllabus, I always include the dates of different projects or papers that we do. And on the dates that come, I'll warn them ahead of time. I'll say on Tuesday, I'm going to collect the papers. And I will collect the papers on Tuesday, but my students always know that they have until Friday night at 5 o'clock to get the paper to me. So it's up to them to get it to me at that point. I'm not going to them to find it. But what I found is it really does reduce stress, because if they're having a challenging week and they need a little bit more time, they know the paper comes in this time, but it's also there's some flex time to it. I want to talk to you about a professor friend of mine who actually is here tonight. This is a picture of Ray Browning, who teaches in sports science and sports and exercise science. Besides being a heck of a neat father, Ray teaches HES 307 biomechanics. He has 65 students in his class. And what he says to his students is interesting. He says, I'm not successful as a teacher until you are successful as a student. I would be delighted if we had 65 A's in this class. And what he says is, we're all in this together. It's you and I against the curriculum, and I'm on your side. So what he's doing is really building up the students and encouraging them by telling them that everything's going to work to their advantage. Ray builds relationships with his students by having a lot of fun in class. He also tells them, we have a shared responsibility. You have your part to do, and I have my part. But I want to know for sure every time there's something that isn't coming through clearly in the classroom. He uses a poll everywhere software to get instant feedback from the students. He said to me, I have the incredible privilege of teaching these young people, and that is definitely brain-friendly teaching. I have another picture I want to show you. These are some students. I'm going to show you two things that are students who are yet to come to CSU. This is Ruby, and Ruby is an 8th grader at Polaris School. Ruby is raking leaves, and also she does pet sitting and babysitting, whatever she can do to raise $2,000 by next May. Ruby is raising this money because someone in her class got curious about what's happening to the coral in our nation's ocean, our world's oceans. After doing a lot of research, they found that coral can only live in very clean water. Ruby and 21 of her classmates were distressed by this, and they found out that this coral is being eliminated. So each class member is raising $2,000 to go to Florida in May to replant the coral beds. Well, by the way, Ruby and her team figured out that they would have to be scuba qualified to be able to do this project. So they took hours of book study, in-water training, and a certification test where they had to go to a crater lake in Utah and show that they could successfully dive and operate in water over 100 feet deep. Think about that. These are 8th graders. I thought Ruby was going to be here in the audience. She is not, but she'd be glad to answer questions. But Ruby is on her way to CSU in about 4 years. I want to show you some other students that are coming to CSU in a few years. These are Poudre High School students, and this is the beginning of an amazing project. Steve Sayers and Nathan Savick and Justin Cohen are teaching geometry and other math skills by having their students build Habitat for Humanity homes. If you go to the backside of Poudre High School, you'd see this home now has all 4 walls up on the outside and interior walls as well. And the students are working in teams. When I was there were 80 students, and freshmen and sophomores there. And they're not just learning geometry, of course, they're learning building skills and they're learning responsibility and how to work in teams. But these students are ferociously excited about a kind of learning that I don't see a great deal of when they come to CSU. What I'm interested in is these will be a different kind of learner when they come here. They have been in a non-traditional experience. They have become used to classrooms and laboratories that are completely different than what we have. They're learning because of their own curiosity, not necessarily from what's in a syllabus, a set syllabus. I'm wondering if we're flexible enough to take advantage of these students. They will be ready for learning that addresses authentic problems. They will come to us wanting learning that appeals to their idealism and their desire to help people and real causes. They will want to make a difference in the world and not just primarily learn for its own sake. Now, I know many of those students are also here at CSU now. Now, what I'm wondering is if the university and if the honors program will respond to what we're seeing be a trend of the kind of learners that are coming to this campus. My question then is, are you ready for them? Thank you. I'm honored that you came.